Hey everybody, it's Jonathan and Teresa Keel coming at you Sunday evening, talking to you a little bit more about missionary life, our 5th episode. Today is part 1 of putting together a missionary family budget. And we've actually tried to do this video numerous times, but we keep going over, and so we've decided to turn it into maybe 2 or 3 videos because we think it's a really important topic. It's something that people have asked us every year we've been in missions, besides our first year when we were the ones asking the question. And we've learned a lot of things over the years, especially working in a developing or underdeveloped country, that we thought we might share with you guys, especially those who have decided, hey, I want to become a missionary, I want to do this, but you know, what type of costs am I looking at? So Teresa here, who's our main budgeting wizard in our family, she has come up with 4 different categories of financial need that we'd like to share with you. The first one of those today, which is your startup costs.
That's right. So we have 4, and I'll just give you a brief rundown of those 4 so you know what to expect in the next one. You get really excited. Because the first one we're going to do today is the startup costs. Second one is going to be your monthly budget, your normal old monthly budget for your family, and that is all. The third one is going to be your ministry costs. What does that look like? And then the fourth one will be leisure, because we feel like that's a really important thing to add into your missionary budget overall. All right, but today we're going to talk about startup costs and things that this video is not going to touch on, but you might need to keep in mind that this may cost you, is your visa costs. Those, depending on where you live, may cost different prices.
And we'll be talking about an entire episode on just getting visas and vaccinations and things like that in the future.
So that's not this one, but visa costs could be a thing. And also language school, not going to talk about that today, but if you're interested in doing that, might be something that you need to kind of keep in the back of your mind.
And we'll also be talking about that later on.
That's right. And then lastly, but not least, is if you were to join our company, Family Missions Company, your intake fees are also not included in this. So, anyways, startup costs. You arrive at your mission location. What are you going to be spending when you arrive there? One thing that you have to consider is if you are moving in to a new location, starting it off brand new, and no one else has lived there. And that's going to cost a lot more than if you are replacing another family who lived there and perhaps moved on and you're moving into their house. In those cases, most of the time, people cannot travel with all the things they bought for their home, so they'll be leaving a lot of the big ticket items. Praise God, that works in your favor. We happened to move to Ecuador without anyone before us, so we were able to start from scratch here in Ecuador.
Or at least in Chonta Punta.
In Chonta Punta. And so anyways, the budget for the startup costs can be a rather wide range. And the reason why that is because it depends on what you have to have for your particular family, what you feel like is necessary. And by that I mean, do you need a washing machine? Or would you rather pay a local to do your laundry every week? That might be an option. Do you need a refrigerator? In the United States, almost everyone feels like they need a refrigerator. In missions, we've lived years without a refrigerator. We do have one now. It's the size of a mini fridge that you'd have for maybe college. But you normally don't need one because you can literally walk less than a block to the store. You don't have to drive there. You can walk for every single meal that you're going to cook that day. You can walk to the store before you cook, and then you can come right back, and not a problem whatsoever. You don't have to worry about storing your food for very long. And if you're lucky, you can take any leftovers that y'all didn't eat and give it to the local pigs. And so then it works out.
We actually have a 5-gallon bucket downstairs that one of our neighbors said, you guys have a lot of kids and have to throw away a lot of bones and different things. Can you save up the food for my pigs? We said, sure.
Yep. So we have our slop bucket for the local pigs. So praise the Lord for that. if you can live without an oven. We didn't need an oven for very long. I'm not a big baker. So we had just a 4-burner kind of tabletop stove thing that we hooked up to a gas tank. You have to buy your gas tank. Who knows what type of furniture you need. If you can get away, like we had to buy mattresses for the entire family, but we literally bought $12 mattresses. They're about this thick, literally, and they're only foam. And after you sleep on them for about a month, they're about this thick. They're like tiny. I had to double up when I was pregnant, I'll be honest. It was not very comfortable with just one. So anyways, your budget for when you move into a place is going to have extremes. But I would say for most people, you're going to want to look into spending anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 getting your house set up. If it has nothing in it. If it already has things in it, you might not have to pay for anything. But there are certain things that we needed to get that you might not think about, like bedding, curtains, pots, pans, dishes, silverware. If you can bring a good knife. Some things you need to bring from the United States, and I would say that's one of those. But if you can wait and you want to buy it here in your country, chances are you can find one. It's just going to be a lot more expensive than if you picked it up and brought it back from the United States. That goes for good pans as well. I highly recommend that everybody bring themselves from the States a good pan, non-stick, if you prefer that type of thing, or a thick bottom stock pot that you can make a ton of stuff in. That's really important to me. And a saute size pot.
What about laundry, Teresa?
And laundry. Well, now, do you need a washing machine? You could buy a washing machine when you get into your location, or you can choose to get a local to do your laundry, and it's all up to you. Or you could do laundry by hand yourself, which is most people in our missionary locations do all of their laundry by hand. How exactly they do it, it depends on the location, but it's either take your clothes and rub them together with your knuckles like this all over the place and clean them that way. Or you take it and you slam it down on rocks, or you take a brush with your clothes laying on a board and you scrub it with a brush.
Your clothes don't last quite as long.
They don't last as long.
But the people here do it a lot better than you do. We had to do it our first month of Ecuador, actually until about May.
Until May.
And it was you evangelized people to keep them out of that situation. That's how bad it was. And
I literally hated my life.
With 10 people and just not having really the know-how. And we were spending hours. And then you have the little kids who might run in and start playing with clothes, and they fall on the ground, and you're back to zero.
Or when they're hanging the clothes in the line to dry, and they fall on the ground, and you're like, I already
was a nightmare. And so for Mother's Day, I got Teresa this washing machine type of thing. We don't have enough water pressure to have a real washing machine, and so. But yeah, we have a video on Facebook that shows us doing laundry, and it's interesting.
So basically, just ask yourself, what do you think that you need to live with? What can you cut out?
But there are advantages for paying the lady, and that, as with that lady Maribel, who you know.
And I did have another lady. We've always had pretty much, until Ecuador, we had somebody who helped us with our laundry. But when we lived in Mexico, I had a lady named Maribel who came to help me. And I went to her house, actually, to help her, too, because her job was not so much to help me clean, although that was part of her job. Her job was mostly to speak to me in Spanish while we were doing everything that we were doing so that I could learn Spanish. Jonathan was able to leave the house. I had a newborn, and it was just not working for me studying, sitting down all the time. I needed to hear it spoken, and so she would come over and speak to me and tell me, when we were sweeping, estamos barriendo y todo. And it was a great way for me to get to know the locals, get to know the language, and to get them to know me. So it worked out well.
And probably the last thing, kind of major thing, is just you need to ask yourself whether you would like to have the internet in your house.
Yes.
Now, Teresa and I, we're weird. I mean, we've lived most of our lives without a TV or internet in our house, even before missions. you know, we got the internet here in Ecuador 2 years ago. We have a lot of groups coming, and there's no phone service in our town. So having the internet allows us a phone
To
contact through
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp or Facebook. And so we do have the internet now, but that is something you need to consider because it's going to be most of the time a bit of a startup fee. You know, it might be $100 to $300 if they have to put in a
Right.
satellite or a tower.
We were
something
able
like
to
that.
install it here normal with just, we have a repeater on our house that bounces off a tower that's not too far away from us. But it cost us just to install it $150 plus $50 for the equipment, and then we had to pay our first month's rent or first month's payment, which was $90, and we pay $90 a month in internet.
Which,
but
if
we'll
you
be
think
talking
about it, I mean, that's almost double our rent. So
Right.
it is one of our largest fees.
right. But we'll talk about monthly expenses in another video because
Yeah.
we're already over our limit.
But we're so happy to be here with you guys, and we hope that these videos might inspire some of you to start up this beautiful life. Be who you are, and you will set this world on fire. God bless you.